It's Wednesday. It's Mark Pyers.
I was walking down the
And
road today,
it's Renaissance Man.
another way.
I'm here
My mind and help
to ease my mind and help my living. It's Renaissance Man. It's daily variety show Mark Pyers, Renaissance Man. I'm here to connect with you,
so many
to
perfect
amplify your current state. And I'm here with you on day 1,248 in a row of the Renaissance Man Show. We're going to get into it just like we do every single day, fam and friends. This is a very special episode of Renaissance Man. It's a call-in episode. We're here to talk about the markets. I'm trying to figure out what's happening out there. I'm seeing everything going in the red, and that's not a good thing. I'm hearing lots of different chatter in the stock market front, obviously in the real estate front. That's where I spend my time on a daily. I'm going to give some perspective on the real estate market, but I'm hoping to get a call from somebody who's got their finger on the pulse when it comes to stocks, bonds, crypto, whatever. So if you're out there and you do want to get on the line with me, the phone number is right here in the corner, 203-741-TALK. Give me a ring and let's make some magic happen. I just have to turn on the Google Voice thing. Give me 1 second, and then we will be able to have the phone calls come in. And so it's day 1248 in a row, fam and friends. Look at that. Billy from the top, Renee Woods kicking it with me. And you know we love that. Let's see if we can get in here. Are we in? I switched phones. I haven't used this since I switched my phone, so. No, I already have my number, dude. Hold on, mana. No, I want to go into someone else. Add as another account. I'm not sure which account to have it under, though. Let's try that. It looks like it's pulling me through. It's pulling me through. Didn't work. Joanne! I'm here with Joanne. And of course, for this website, let's try that one. Of course. When you've got Joanne and she's not doing anything to help, you know. Well, I guess we can't use that phone number. I had it, and now I don't have it. Like, what's that all about? Let's see. Maybe I could type it in here and see if I can figure out what email address it was part of. Because that's a problem. When you don't know which email address you have it for, and you got a ton of email addresses. Oh, it's on Stay Safe. Okay, I got this. Hold on, mama. Hold on, mama. Stay safe. That's what I got to do. Guys, sorry about that, but I want to make sure you can get your calls in today. And I created a sort of business at the beginning of the pandemic called Stay Safe Concierge Real Estate. And it didn't really go anywhere because everybody just started going out and selling real estate anyway and showing their properties to people. But I thought maybe if people didn't want to leave their homes and they were afraid to go out, that I could do like a Zoom type of thing and bring them the house into them. Remote viewing. It started going there anyway. Let's see. Changed 23 days ago. Zabrowski, give me a woo-hoo. I gotta figure out what we got. Woo-hoo! Doing it. We got Zabrowski here, guys. Gave me a woo-hoo for the day. So who's into the stock market? Who knows what's going on out there? It seems to me like it's a buying opportunity, but I've also heard that it's going to go even lower. Anybody have any perspective they can share? Let's get a phone call going on that in a second. As soon as I get this number worked out. You know, I should have obviously clearly done this prior, but I thought I had already worked this out. I forgot I haven't used this thing in so long. Where the heck would it be? Voice, maybe? Google Voice? I have no idea where to find it. You know, Joanne, when you come in here unprepared to do what you need to do, which is to take phone calls, and you can't take phone calls with a number that you own. I own the number. I just can't figure out what the heck I got it under. We're going to just look through all my passwords one more time, Joanne. We're going to see if we could get lucky here. No. All right, we're going to try to just guess it. I'm going to guess it. Here we go. I got a couple that they're the go-tos. Yeah, I have a different password for every single website. Is that crazy? Or it's actually not. I mean, I think that's just the way to do it. It freaking worked. That worked! Unreal! We're doing it. Let's see. Are we good? Do we have our number back? Let's see if we have our number back. We should, because that was my number. 741-TALK is the one. You know what I mean? We want to make sure that selected number. No, I owned a number already. Gosh almighty. I'm just trying to put my number in and see if it works. It doesn't look like I'm getting it. 8255 I had, and this is 8235 that they have. Let's see if I can get it still. I doubt it. No numbers are available for that because I already freaking own it. You know? Yeah, unreal. It's just unreal. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that, Joanne. I don't want to take a new number. You know what? We'll do it just for today, so I guess I could own more than one. I don't want to do that, though. I want to just have one freaking number. This is my number here. Stay Safe Concierge. Stay Safe Real Estate. That, guys, you went in the wrong one. God almighty. You're doing the wrong thing, okay? It's Stay Safe Real Estate. Guys, this is the best intro to the show ever. You know what we're going to do is put a little something on. Just have a little piece of music in the background while I figure this out. Stay Safe Real Estate. That was the one we were doing. At Gmail. The old Gmail account. So, I've been seeing the market shifting in the real estate side. We'll get into that. And I just want to know what other markets are there out there that you're looking at, and how does it look? Are we in trouble here? I think we're in trouble. Let's see if that works. That didn't work. We're trying one more thing, and then we're just going to move on and just we'll get a new number if we have to. You know, you try to do the right thing like Spike Lee, and you can't even get it to go. I'm just going to do a forgot password thing and just freaking do it. Oh, goodness. Create a strong password. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to take their strong password, okay? We're going to do that. We're doing it. Okay, Stay Safe Real Estate. Continue. Let's see. I hope we're in there in our phone number. Choose your current phone number. Yeah, I think we're in. I think we're in, guys. We're in. All right, guys, 203-741-8255. You could officially call the Renaissance Man Show and have a conversation. It doesn't have to necessarily be about the markets, but if it is, that's a good thing for us because we want to see what's happening out there. And like I said, I've got some stories here we'll get into while we're waiting for some phone calls. Let's see what Joanne pulled up for us today. This is, I guess, a good place for us to start. Let me open this up here. We'll do our specific little deal. Why is there a double-decker going on? Hold on. This guy's got to be over here. You know, that's how we do it. Right there. And then we do the old window capture, you know? And we're bringing Janet Yellen into the screen. Joanne, what do we got in the news? We're talking about the markets. We're talking about I think we're going to be dealing with a very tight second half of the year. So let's see. What does Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen say about it? I was wrong. Well, that's not good. That's not a good start. Really quickly, let me get on to my actual extra page so I could see if any questions come in here before we get this puppy going. This is what happens when you start the show at 11 in the morning instead of 10 at night. You're doing it all on the fly. Okay, we're opening up the chat in case anything comes through so I could be in there with you. You know what I mean? Minds Over Matters. Good to see you. And Renee kicking it with me. She's doing a Facebook. Guys, if you're on Facebook with Renee, say hello. She's under the tag Billy Thompson. Doing it over there. Got it, Thompson. Over here, though, we got a Renee Woods deal. Double-deckering it, you know? So let's see if we can get into this story about Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. She concedes that she misread the threat of inflation. In Washington, the Biden administration acknowledged Tuesday that it was wrong to downplay the threat of rising inflation last year, as the White House works to combat rising consumer prices that have hampered Joe Biden's presidency. I think it was wrong about then the path that inflation would take, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said in an interview on CNN. Yellen, in March 2021, said inflation posed only a small risk. 2 months later, she said she didn't anticipate inflation would be a problem. Earlier that spring, Biden signed his $1.9 trillion COVID-19 rescue plan into law. providing a boost in spending that his critics blame for accelerating inflation. As I mentioned, there have been unanticipated and large shocks to the economy that boosted energy and food prices, and supply bottlenecks that affected our economy badly, that I, at the time, didn't fully understand, Yellen told CNN. But we recognize that now. Now, I am curious. We'd been talking about supply chain issues for the last year prior to all of this. Prior to the inflation, we had supply chain issues. So they try to see if they could just snowball everything into one statement. But they realize that some of us have a memory. Some of us are able to just track the last couple of years and see when things did take place. So just take everything with a grain of salt, I would say, in this existence of ours, because they will try to get away with everything, and they will point fingers everywhere else except take accountability. The secretary's admission is the most direct concession yet from the White House that officials failed to grasp the scale of inflation that would come as the U.S. recovered from the CV pandemic. The administration later predicted the rise in consumer prices would be temporary. With inflation at a 40-year high, Biden met Tuesday with the Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell and promised to give this space to tackle surging consumer prices. My plan, is this Biden? Look, my plan to address inflation starts with a simple proposition. Look, respect the Fed. Respect the Fed's independence, Biden said in a brief remarks ahead of the Oval Office meeting. Biden this month called tackling inflation top domestic priority. Biden and Democrats face major headwinds to maintain control of Congress during November's midterm elections as a result of the price rises that have made many consumers increasingly anxious. Again, back to our talking points for today. This is a consumer issue. We're starting to deal with a decline in consumer confidence. The average price for gasoline Tuesday hit a record $4.62 per gallon, according to the AAA, and about $1.50 more than drivers were paying last Memorial Day weekend. That was even under Biden's watch, so $1.50 less a year ago. The Federal Reserve earlier this month raised its key short-term interest rate by a 0.5 percentage point. The Fed was created by Congress as an independent agency. The Fed was created by Congress as an independent agency, though the members of its board of governors, including the Fed chairman, are appointed by the president. The Fed is not part of the government. The Fed is independent completely. It's not even an agency of the United States of America. It's independently owned by the Rothschilds and many others. This is what I can't stand about the news. The Fed was created by Congress? No, it was not created by Congress. They were strong-armed. Look up Jekyll Island, 1913. Check it out. This was a strong-arm move in the middle of the night in order for them to create a Federal Reserve central bank in our country. They use the word Federal Reserve to make it seem like it's part of America. It has nothing to do with America. We can never pay off our debt to the Federal Reserve. The interest that they give us on every single dollar could never be paid back. It's insane. We're just tackling more and more crushing debt on a daily basis, and we just take more and more from these people that have they just want to destroy us. It's about world domination. They got their biggest piece of it on, from that Jekyll Island deal in 1913 when they were able to create the Federal Reserve. So, and someone correct me if I'm wrong. The Fed was created by Congress? Is that true? Someone tell me, was it created by Congress? In fact, I think we should do a little search and find out if it was created by Congress. Was the Federal Reserve I want to read that because I was always told that it was created by the Rothschilds and Chase. Let's see what this is. This is the Federal Reserve Act. I think we should go back to the original microfiche. Let's microfiche it, Wilson declares it's the first of a series of constructive acts to aid business. Let's see what we got over here. The Federal Reserve. Evolution of Federal Reserve System. Let's just type in Jekyll Island. This is where we get some real information right here. A secret gathering at a secluded island off the coast of Georgia in 1910 laid the foundations for the Federal Reserve System. Let's see. Oh, it was 1913. Owen incorporated modifications by Woodrow Wilson and allowed for a regional Federal Reserve System operating under the supervisory board in Washington, D.C. Congress approved the act, and Wilson signed it into law. So they approved it, a regional Federal Reserve System, but who owns the Federal Reserve? Oh, look, like they even hear me. You see that? They hear me. The Federal Reserve is neither truly federal nor a full reserve. Okay, let's just see what this is. The Federal Reserve System is not owned by anyone. The Federal Reserve was created in 1913, a nation's central bank. The Board of Governors in Washington is the agency. I think okay, what banks do the Rothschilds own? Let's just check and see the Rothschilds banks. Banks I'm probably going to get in trouble for doing this, but whatever. Federal Reserve. Is not controlled. Board of Governors control it. Okay, but where? Let's see. This is saying it's also not owned by anyone, but it's factcheck.org. Like, how much can we trust that one, right? There are actually 12 different Federal Reserve banks around the country, and they are owned by big private banks. Okay, so there you go. But the banks don't necessarily run the show. Nationally, the Federal Reserve System is laid by the Board of Governors, whose 7 members are appointed by the president and confirmed by the state. The stockholders in the 12 regional Federal Reserve banks are privately owned banks that fall under the Federal Reserve System. These include all national banks and those state chartered banks that wish to join and meet certain requirements. About 38% of the nation's more than 8,000 banks are members of the system and thus own the Fed banks. 38% of the nation's banks own the Federal Reserve. So are we basically loaning out the bank's money back to ourselves, and then we can't pay back the banks because the interest is too high? Right? Jim, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. And Chris, my buddy Chris is kicking it with us. I love it. So it's just a curiosity on my part. It seems to me like, there's some sort of fishy stuff going on here. It always has been very weird to me that we kowtow to these people. We can't do anything without them. We are, what was it, $30 trillion? What are we in debt for right now to the Federal Reserve? Does anybody even know? It's impossible to ever, generations down the line, they'll never even get close to this. And they want to spend more. They want to give $40 billion more to a different country instead of to the people of America. Let's see. Home prices soar again in March while slowdown fears mount. Now, this is interesting because I've seen the complete opposite many other times, but I wanted to talk about this and see what this story had to say. American home prices continued to skyrocket in March as buyers scrambled to lock down mortgages ahead of rising interest rates. Leading industry experts said Tuesday. But the slowdown concerns escalating. Some say the latest increase could mark the crescendo of a sector that's risen by 37% overall since the start of the pandemic. Homebuyer frenzy reached another new high as eager buyers tried last-ditch efforts to secure a home mortgage before rates surged. Home prices were up by 20% in March compared to the same period last year. So this is definitely specific to where you are in the country. Where we are, we still have never gotten back to pre-crash, 2007 crash numbers. We're close. I'd say some places are. I mean, some houses went nuts, but we never saw the surge that other parts in the country did, although it has been nuts. Like I said, there's very few properties and still a ton of buyers. So with that, you're seeing bidding wars on mostly everything. If it's a good property, it's in a bidding war. Rising costs of living. What are we doing here, Joanne? Rising costs of living hurts U.S. consumer confidence. House prices soar. So here we go again. This is a concern. Consumer confidence is starting to wane and prices are still rising. That's not how it works. We're going to see a major slap in the face for the real estate industry. If people keep raising their prices, what they should be doing right now is pricing their houses to sell and then create the bidding war because the market is still on that teeter point. So what's the option? You price it high. You get one offer, maybe, or you price it low. by low, I mean still a profit to you because you're much higher than you were 2 years ago at the beginning of this. I'm in a part of this country where most people wanted out before the pandemic took place. The taxes are high. We're close to New York City here, but for some reason, because of the way the country or the state had been run for 25 plus years, people weren't looking at it when they were leaving the city. They were going to other places. And all of a sudden we get hit with this crazy pandemic and people flock from New York City out of the cities into all the different suburban areas. Where I sell real estate went crazy. I mean, people were buying like mad. The only thing I wish I could have a time machine and go back and have 100 listings. I'd be a millionaire right now. That's what happened right now is people killed it in this last 2 years that are real estate agents that had clients, that had the ability to network or had a huge network. And it's going to shift going forward. It is. But I do want you guys to realize that when you are looking for any real estate needs, if you need to buy or sell, you need to get more information, you're looking at a property, you just want some advice, reach out to me. I can help you anywhere in this country. If you're looking for an agent in Albuquerque, New Mexico, I can find you an amazing real estate agent with Berkshire Hathaway down there. It costs you nothing, and it's just one more person for you to consider. You don't have to go with the person I find for you, but it's one more person for you to hear out and see if they have anything that they can provide to you as a benefit. Most times what I've found, and this is just me as a consumer, I've learned this, when I go into places and I'm not fully briefed on what goes down and how to do something, it's not that you're taking advantage of, but you just don't know what you're doing. You just go and you get the first person you walk in the door and you meet. Most times they're giving you the agent with the lowest commission split. What happens is the offices make more money on the younger agents, the newer agents, because they have a lower commission split. And if that person can transact a deal, the company makes more money. So on leads, a lot of times what these firms will do is they'll shift out the newer agents, the rookie agents, agents that don't have the experience in order to negotiate on your behalf. What I do when a client needs assistance in another state, Jacqueline Grace is a good example of this, is I reach out to the manager in the area that they're looking. I speak to that manager and let them know I'm over here in Connecticut with Berkshire Hathaway. And I'd like to speak to their top 3 agents and ask them a couple questions, get them on the line. And I'm just looking for someone like me on the other end. I'm looking for someone proactive. I'm looking for somebody who's got a head on their shoulders and who's going to go out there and do something instead of sit back and wait. And so I'll make those phone calls. I find a great agent for you. And if you use the agent, you don't pay anything for it. That agent, if they sell the property or buy a property with you, is going to take a small portion of their commission and they send it to me. It's called a referral fee. It's how we all live in this real estate business. Some people make a living just on referrals. And as an agent, we love getting referrals. We love getting new business. So whenever I get them, I'm happy to pay out referral fees. I don't even think about it. I'm like, I got a piece of business I didn't have before. So if you are looking anywhere in the country, maybe even anywhere in the world, just reach out to me, shoot me a note, let me know, and I will see if I can help in any way. And like I said, it costs you nothing. And if you're still going to do the research and find a person and try to interview somebody, do that. Give you one more option to consider, or maybe even 2 if I'm impressed by 2 of the agents. I've had that happen before, where I was impressed by 2 agents and I'm like, look, I'm going to let the client decide who they like. I'm not going to just send them one because both of these people are pretty impressive. So take advantage of someone who has expertise and is offering to give it to you free of charge. A lot of people aren't willing to do that. I notice online, everything's about selling a course. I've never done anything like that. Not that I know how to do it specifically. I mean, there are people who run, hey, this is how you do that. But I want people to just find the greatest version of themselves. And it's not about paying for a course in order to get it. It's about connecting to the moment and understanding who you are. You can't do that if you're always in your mind. You're always thinking about the things that you did wrong yesterday. You got to start getting to this second and realizing that the clock is ticking. So start making phone calls. Start putting yourself out there. There's nothing worse than a no. What's worse than the no? So just get it. Okay, I got the no. Now I'm going to make a phone call and try to get a yes. I can't tell you the amount of times I've called a cold call live, and I'm on the line with them. They smash me in the face. No, we're not working with a new realtor. We don't have time for this. You know, I'm so sick of realtors calling me. I'm so sick of, my house expired. I'm so sick of hearing people call me and ask me if they want my listing. No, I don't lose my number. I'm going to tell people we're on the do not call list. You hear everything when you call, how do you react? How do you react when someone smashes you in the face like that? It's been often said by people like Barbara Corcoran, it's not how often you fall, it's how quickly you get back up. That's so accurate. We get knocked down on a daily, each and every one of us. There's no way to live here all the time. So, do what you can in order to find the greatest version of self. And we're going into a time period now where if you aren't settled in on something, it could be scary for people going forward. This is the demise of our economy is what it looks like. This is insane. They're just printing money and sending it to Ukraine. And our country's falling apart. You don't even have baby formula. It's like, but let's make sure that we keep throwing money into Ukraine. Like, what happens to that money if Ukraine decides to just give up and let Russia take over? You think Putin's going to send us our money back? We're getting our money back, right? Okay. I've heard a few people comment that, oh, yeah, they're going to pay us interest on that money. Well, they are? What happens if Ukraine freaking gets taken over? Well, that's what we're trying to stop. Okay. That's on us, right? That's on us. They have massive oil reserves, don't they? I believe in Ukraine. It's a massive, enriched country. They have got everything. They've got a lot of other countries that could have their back. Over there in Europe. We're over here in the United States of America where our citizens are hurting. You put the $40 billion into the economy here. You send it to every family or something. You don't send it over to a country and keep sending them money like crazy and weapons, and you're just perpetuating the war that's bound to come because you are doing more than he said he wanted anybody to do. Don't get involved. Okay, now we're involved. Okay, and now we're just throwing money at this. We're not doing any. We're just throwing money at them to use however they want. This is a corrupt country, right? No, it's not. No, Ukraine's like a really great democratic country. Like they really, there's no corruption in Ukraine, right? It's the most corrupt country when it comes to laundering money. And they just sent over billions. It's like, okay, now all of a sudden they're on the same level as the United States. And what is our level now? What level are we at now? We used to have a standard where people looked up to us. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. Unreal. Rising cost of living hurts U.S. consumer confidence. Yeah. Consumer confidence index falls to 106.4 in May. Oh my goodness. U.S. consumer confidence eased modestly in May as persistently high inflation and rising interest rates force Americans to become more cautious about buying big-ticket items including motor vehicles and houses, which could curtail economic growth. Yeah, you think so? The survey from the Conference Board on Tuesday also showed consumers' perceptions of the labor market softening a bit this month. Though the drop in confidence was small, it suggested that the Federal Reserve's aggressive monetary policy actions to slow demand were starting to have an impact. Are they really? We can never underestimate the U.S. consumer, said Jennifer Lee, a senior economist at BMO Capital Markets in Toronto, but plans to pull back on purchases and become a little more cautious is something that the Federal Reserve would welcome as it aims to cool demand. Unfreaking real. Let's hit one more story here. 25% of Americans are delaying retirement due to inflation, survey finds. Customer pumps gas into their car at a gas station on May 18th in Petaluma, California. She's scratching her head because the bill is up at $437. Americans' finances are being squeezed as inflation pushes up prices on things such as rent, groceries, and gasoline. As a result, 1/4 of Americans will have to delay their retirement, according to the BMO Real Finance Report, and a quarterly survey conducted between March 30th and April 25th. Putting off retirement plans is mostly due to disrupted savings from increased prices, the survey found. 36% of survey respondents have reduced their savings, and 21% are putting away less for retirement in order to keep up with growing costs. Gosh almighty, guys. I mean, we could just hit all these stories, just continue on. New York suspends gas tax for the rest of the year starting Wednesday. That's good because they're overpriced with everything in New York. Gas prices in the tri-state area are still well above the national average, but New York drivers will get a little relief starting today. That's because effective June 1st, New York is suspending its gas tax for the rest of the year. The national average is now up to $4.67 a gallon. New York, the average is up to $4.93 a gallon. Today, the 16% gas tax is suspended through the end of the year. So clearly you see some people trying to make a shift, right? Even some of the municipalities are saying, we got to try to help our people. Yes, you do. Bitcoin may hit 14K in 2022, but buying BTC now is as good as it gets, analysis. Listen, you can see analysts come out with all kinds of things. What do? First of all, now you're dealing with limited funds for people because of what's happening out there. People are starting to tighten up their wallets, and you're going to go out and start spending money on Bitcoin, which is just going the wrong direction. Okay, it could go to 14. I don't even know what it's at right now, but I do have clients who say, just buy it, whatever it's at. It's going to be worth $1 million one day. One coin will be worth $1 million one day. And it may, I don't know. All I know is this. I'm here to talk about the real estate market. I'm here to talk about the stock market. If anybody wants to call in and has any questions about it or has anything they want to share about it, let's do that, because I'm going to have to wrap the show up in a few minutes. I do have to get to my day. Real estate is a calling. Let's see what this says real quick. Global stocks fall. U.S. yields rise as oil prices reach new highs. Look at this guy wearing his mask all by himself in front of the chart. Oh, goodness. Global equity markets dipped while U.S. Treasury yields rose sharply on Tuesday as investors weighed the prospects of higher inflation following a phased ban of Russian oil imports by the European Union. Look, it's just like every story's negative now, guys, right? This isn't something where it's just like random stories are negative. It's every story we see is negative. And that is sign of the times, okay? When all of the media starts pushing, we had the negativity when it came to the society and dividing people from getting along. That was there. That's been there, okay? But the economy, everything was always about how great the economy was doing. Oh yeah, crypto's having a fall, but it's going to come back. Stocks drop, but they're going to come back. Now there's a different message out there. I'm hearing influencers across the board saying that this is the start of, or possibly the crash. And it's going to be big when it happens. Real estate, stocks, everything across the board is going to get slammed. And I'm not sure what happens to people. We're going to see a lot of people on the streets, and that's scary. I don't even know. How do we do this? How do we get through? So kind of part of this huge, massive plan from the beginning here, which is to create so much conflict and so much fear. And I mean, just imagine for a second, if we're at a point where there's so many people who are in distress because of the way things are, you're going to start seeing some scary stuff going on out there. Scary stuff. And that's on our government. They destroyed our economy. We had the greatest economy in the history of time right before this whole thing took place. It's been proven through many studies that shutting down the economy the way they did absolutely nothing to stop the spread. All it did was kill jobs, kill small businesses, destroy families and their income. That's it. And then on top of that, they're forcing farms to plow their fields and their plants, and they're forcing euthanasia on animals so that there's not enough supplies for the people. And then now when there's not enough supplies for the people, like, oh, well, we didn't expect this to happen. You're paying farmers, and then if you don't, you'll fine them if they don't plow their land and all of their crops. What kind of country are we living in? You're knowingly, intentionally trying to hurt your citizens. It's like we talk about the one piece on TikTok that seemed to go pretty much viral, where I just talked about how, one of the first lines of getting tough with Ukraine and Russia, that whole deal, was to shut down the pipeline that Russia has. They're shutting down their pipeline because it hurts their country to shut down a pipeline. They literally came out to say that. We're shutting down their pipeline because it hurts a country when you shut down their pipeline. So I made a video as soon as I saw that saying, so day one, when you sat down at the Oval Office and signed 21 executive orders, one of them was to shut down the Keystone XL pipeline, which is the secondary pipeline that we were trying to work out here so we had more supply. And you shut it down. So intentionally, you knowingly and wanted to hurt America. Because you just told us that when you shut down someone's pipeline, you hurt their country. Am I dealing with Twilight Zone stuff here? The crazy thing is nobody talks about it in the mainstream media. They just continue to let it get whitewashed. Oh, he's doing a great job. There's always going to be critics of a president. But when you can't be critical of the president, and you won't be critical of the president when they need to have some critique, we have a problem. We had 4 years of nothing but criticism, and 97% of the time there was no need for a critique. There should have been some sort of applause on some of these things, but it was all critique. Now, Afghanistan, the economy, inflation, everything that's going on, the way that the pandemic was handled, everything. Nobody wants to talk about it. They just want to give them a pass. And like I said, I don't think anybody has the answer. I don't think the last guy had the answer, clearly, because we went through a full year and the government shut down, the economy shut down. We were at home remotely working as a real estate agent. How am I supposed to get new clients? They destroyed my business. You know what I mean? I'm here doing a show every day and dealing with the clients I have, but I couldn't go out there and shake hands with people. You've got to be masked up. You couldn't have events. You can't, it was a very, very trying 2 years for this country. And now that we're sort of getting through it, they're destroying the economy. And it's like, okay, so wait a second. You beat the hell out of us for 2 years. You made it difficult to even create or sustain a business and that you had running. And you had to start something new. You had to do something in media and find success during that period of time. Or you are dealing with the ramifications of a flatlining market. That's what it seems like, So this is definitely just a random midday show. I know the show's usually at night, but whenever I do feel inclined, I want to pop on whenever possible and put something out there. And I was just thinking about today how many negative stories I'm seeing about the economy, how many things I'm seeing about the real estate market, about the stock market, crypto. And I said, man, that's just not a good sign. You need an even amount of news if it's going to be a decent market. When you start seeing this goes back to prior to the pandemic. That's all it was. Do you guys remember? Prior to the pandemic, well, not for stocks. Stocks, I think, were doing very well. But the real estate market, my part of the country, was dead. And I fear that if it goes back to that, like, I don't know. I just don't know what happens to this part of the country. So if you have any insights, shoot them to me. Leave me a comment here. Let me know what you think. And perhaps we can have another conversation, do another one of these sometime this week or next week. I should do one show a week early so anybody who's a different part of the world can wind up joining us live. And hopefully, at least there's something here you got from this. I'm just a little worried about it for our kids, for us. We got to make sure that we can get through these next couple of years here. Literally, the next 2.5 years are going to be insane. It's going to be insane. And I just pray that we have some rational and common sense leaders instead of what we've seen lately, which has been really, really off the wall. Extremely. It's not even just like, oh, democratic. There's no democratic decisions being made. This is off the reservation stuff. Off the reservation. This is an intentional, am I going to say? But I love this country. I love this country the way it was. I don't need any other country coming in here and deciding who's going to be our leaders. That's another thing right now. Like New York, Pennsylvania, I want to say Maryland, Vermont, and maybe New Hampshire are going to allow people that are non-citizens to vote in their local elections. And it's just a slippery slope where it starts. Okay, so we'll let, non-citizens vote for just like, who's the mayor, who's the governor, that stuff, It's just not the president, though. Okay, So you let one thing in, then you're not going to come in and push through for the. We need everybody to be able to vote. Everybody should have a say in who's the president. Even somebody who just came over the border, just illegally came across the border, they should have a right as well. That's why they have millions of people coming through right now, because that's the final play. We get to the next major election 2.5 years from now. That is the play. It will be pushed through Congress because they've got the power. Hopefully they lose it during this midterm, but they'll push it through, and then we're done. We're done as a nation with no sovereignty anymore. What does it mean to be an American if your vote is not yours anymore? I don't even know if I want to vote anymore. It's like, what's the freaking point? They just take it and switch it. They do whatever the hell they want. They're going to put in who they want to put in. It's always going to be the case. The only time we got lucky was when the last time around. Because if she had gotten in, woo-wee, that would have been bad news, man. That would have been bad news. Bodies all over the place. What happened to that one? Oh, they knew her. Oh, goodness, guys. So I hope everybody's doing well out there. I hope you have a great day, and go out and do something amazing, okay? I got to go out there and try to sell some real estate. So again, if you do ever need any help in real estate, buying, selling, advice, hey, I was going to buy a property, Mark, and I don't know what I'm doing. Shoot me a note. I'm happy to help, okay, guys? And I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow when we do it all over again. Midday show. Interesting. Oh, goodness. Gotta go away. So Cheryl, Chris, Daniel, my friend, Kathleen, Danford. Oh, it's so good seeing you guys. I appreciate you. And hopefully I'll see you tomorrow for day 1249 in a row of the Renaissance Man Show. Until then, it's Mark Myers. And it's Renaissance Man. I love you guys. See you tomorrow. You got to go away. Got to go away. Got to go away. See you tomorrow, fam. See you tomorrow.